All right. Hey, I'm Liberty Cabbage here with Yeahduff from Comic Genesis Forums, who used to do 8 to 1, does some short comics now. So we'll get started. 8 to 1 has a really cool black and white style with hatching and all that. How kind of had you, I guess, kind of get started with that kind of style?
Mostly, well, 8 to 1 started as a high school newspaper strip. So by necessity, it had to be black and white because they weren't going to pay money for color.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just I mean, for one thing, it's cheaper. Like, I didn't have much access to computer programs back then anyway, and I wasn't going to do actual watercolors or anything like that. So, and I just really was into black and white drawings. I was in college. I went to school for drawing and painting, and I did these big Conti drawings, like large scale, and they're just big, ugly, lots of marks and hatching and all that. And so that was just kind of the aesthetic I was into, and it kind of worked for this kind of sort of angsty post-college thing that I was doing at the time. And, you know, and I was into Chrome, I was into Clouds, Marjane Satrapi, I was just seeing a lot of black and white stuff, and it was working for what I wanted. And it was cheap.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you've seen some of my stuff. I like black and white too, so it always kind of stood out to me. It's not really that popular online from what I've seen, but I guess it's kind of a old school kind of way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. It probably should be more popular because there's so much terrible color on the internet. People don't know how to do it. That's another thing. I didn't think I could do it right, and so I didn't want to put out this garbage,
Sure.
Which some would argue I put out some garbage anyway, but it wasn't color garbage.
Yeah. Okay. Since you've done 8 to 1, you switched to the short comics. Like I reviewed Murder on the 95th and Dan Ryan, and I did some critiques of, I think it was called F. So what's been kind of the biggest challenge of doing this short comic format, doing 5-6 pages per story?
I think a large part of the problem is large part of the appeal is there aren't a whole lot of issues. It's just, I come up with this idea, I can just relatively quickly type it out, map it out in my head, and then find the layout and all that, and, it's just pretty, relatively quickly just go out there and do it. I guess the one problem is once I get to drawing these people where I need them to look and where I'm doing it consistently, well, it's done and I'm not drawing them anymore. So that's kind of a bit of work that kind of goes to not all of a sudden.
Okay. I talked a bit about Toxic. He was talking about you a bit and how you live in Chicago, and he wants to visit you sometime. So, if your comics are kind of like an urban kind of comics, really all the ones I've read. And so, how do you think living in Chicago has influenced this kind of urban style? I think is kind of very distinctive to you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of what I'm doing, and it's both conscious and also just kind of naturally what I would do. I do want to, found a specific setting where you can kind of feel where you are, and then just it also just is, you write what you know, you see what's around you. Doing comics where people are riding the train every morning. I mean, that's what I do. So it's it's natural that it would come out that way. That's how I would think about it. I wouldn't necessarily think about just driving out or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense. I mean, I know there's a writing expression, write what you know, so it kind of makes sense to write your own kind of life instead of making something else up.
Right.
I can see, like, riding the train, for example, you get the kind of some of the weird thoughts and stuff, and it's like, that kind of would have inspired a Dan Ryan comic.
Yeah, that was definitely from actual thoughts that happened on the train. Wasn't quite so deranged as it turned out, but that was definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, just the kind of the whole idea, I guess, of being on the train, though, always seeing these strangers and kind of wondering what their deal is.
Yeah, that, and you just have a whole lot of time to just stare out the window and think about things. Exactly. And that's why that's a lot. I love riding public transportation. I used to have a car. It died a violent death, and I have not looked back. I'm very glad to be taking the brown line and running back. I don't need to think about these decisions. In contrary to popular belief, I definitely fear death way less now that I'm on the train than when I was driving. That was definitely way more dangerous. And yeah, I have all this time to just kind of stare out the window and think about comic ideas. I used to ink on the train like an idiot, but I would do it sometimes.
Was it too bumpy for that?
It is too bumpy for that. I did it anyway. I haven't inked much in a while lately, so. But yeah, that's public transportation is great.
Okay. Next question. So it seems like you're pretty close with Suburban Letdown. He used to have a different username, but he used to do End of Things, which is a comic I used to like a lot. Outdated, of course. It was pretty random, but so like what effect do you think the two of you have had on each other's styles? I think you guys kind of somewhat similar style. In some ways, other ways they're kind of different. But like I guess how has you two being friends like influenced each other's style?
So yeah, that's an interesting question. There's a rumor he's gonna start doing End of Things again. We'll see. Which would be exciting. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say where, because we're both really into a lot of the same things. Like which is part of why we get along so well. We're coming from the same place, so like we're both super into in college Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Ghost World. He calls Ghost World a good book sometimes. And we're just I don't know, like a lot of the things that we talk about end up in our comics. It's just, and it's not even like, hey, that'd be great for a comic, or it's just we just think a lot alike in those ways. So yeah. So I mean, we work. We used to like work in the same room a lot, and just naturally be like seeing what the other guy was doing and be like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll try something like that. Happens last few days, of course, because he's not comicking as much these days. But yeah, I think we challenged ourselves a lot, like not even in a spoken sort of way, just kind of like. He started getting way better, like really quickly at this one point. He was like, oh, I need to step my game up. And, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he's a good dude. I just saw him last week. He was doing good.
Okay, cool. Right, yeah, I asked, so I interviewed Toxic. I asked him, like, what was one of his favorite Comic Genesis comics, and he said 8 to 1. Was it? And I read it a lot as well. So when you're doing 8 to 1, was it as popular as you expected, or less popular than you thought? What kind did you expect for it when you posted online?
I don't know. I don't even know what I expected. I guess I probably wanted a bigger audience than I got, but I also kind of knew I wasn't going to get it. I don't know. I think there's a certain extent where I never really felt like I was doing what most people think of as web comics. Which is part of the reason I kind of stopped doing Keen Space thing and just kind of did my own website where it's not updated one page at a time. And since doing that, my popularity has gone way down. But I also think the work has gotten better and that the setting is more conducive for the work. I think I was surprised the way some people like really into it, and that was cool and humbling and weird to me. But that was not. I did not expect so much. Maybe because I feel so. I don't know. Writing about such detached people, there's a certain detached aspect to the way I was doing, what I was thinking about it, I guess. But people were like, no, they felt it. That's pretty cool. Sorry to let you all down.
No, it's that kind of goes to my next question though. Is like so you're one of the most persistent cartoonists on the forum. You know, or in other words, you're like one of the only people who still makes comics. You know, pretty much everyone's either quit the forum or just doesn't make anymore. So like kind of. Why do you think that you've been so persistent? I guess you've been doing webcomics for like at least 10 years by now.
Years? Yeah, I guess it's coming up on 14 years now.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably because I didn't really think I was doing a webcomic, and it's not. I wasn't not coming from. I'm not doing this coming from a webcomic. Like I'm making comics, so I think I'm still doing it just because I want to still do it. I got nothing else going on, so it works for me. I don't know. It's just what I want to do. It's what I always wanted to do. I get distracted with video games and such, but yeah, I guess that's why. I don't know. I never hitched my fortunes to the webcomic world, so I don't know.
Have you made any plans to do anything professional or try to sell anything?
Yeah, more so maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. I put out some letters. It was always kind of half-baked sort of things. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to sell myself. I don't know what people want, what people are expecting, what the proper channels even are. At this point, I'm resigned to the fact that it's probably not going to happen. I don't know anything about that. I don't need expectations or anything like that. I kind of just, I'm in a place where I'm going to make what I want to make, and I'm going to make it at my own pace, and I'm not going to get any pressure from some suits or anything. It doesn't look like, from all appearances, there isn't a whole lot of money in comics anyway, so I might as well just make a bunch of stuff because it suits me, and maybe it'll find an audience.
Okay, that's cool. Nice. A few more questions. So are there any webcomics that you read nowadays? You keep up with regularly?
Not really. That's part of the thing. I've always been pretty bad at reading comics, even books. I think the last thing I've read was a Hark of Vagrant collection, which is a webcomic, but
yeah, I know about Hark of Vagrant.
Yeah,
very popular. Yeah.
Very, very,
very popular. Yeah.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
All the best, Kate Beaton. And yeah, otherwise, I've been reading Jane Eyre. That's what I've been reading. So, yeah, I'm a bad person.
No. Not like that. I just kind of wondering what all these people are kind of reading. I read a lot of classic fiction too, mostly, and whatever's for my blog. But No, it's not like you're not a bad person for not reading webcomics.
Yeah, I should do a better job definitely.
So, if you were talking to someone who's starting out like making their first webcomic, what would be like one piece of advice for them?
I don't know. um. I feel like I'm not the person to give advice about how to do this. I don't think I'm doing a very good job.
Well, you've been doing it for a long time, though. I mean, that's kind of, something impressive that you've been, sticking with it for so long. You said like 14 years or something like that.
Yeah,
that's a lot of experience.
Yeah, I think if you compress it to active comic making, it's a good, I don't know, 6 months. But yeah, I mean, I guess if longevity goes, just keep doing it. Just keep plugging away, keep thinking about it, think about comics, and I would tell them, I hope you're not doing this to be popular, because it's probably not going to happen. And yeah, I don't know, just chase your vision. Don't even worry about what anyone else is doing. Just do your thing. I don't know.
No, that's good. I mean, that's what I can really say. That's fun. All right, the last question. Do you think 8 to 1's gonna come back in some form?
Yeah, I'm working on it actually. Okay. Unfortunately, I've been working on this whole issue, I guess, for like 4 years now, and it's a few lines of dialogue that I can't really like. I guess this is the thing about like what I'm doing now, where I'll just do like take my time and do it. There's no pressure. The bad side about that is there's no pressure. So I've been sitting here for years, sitting on these lines of dialogue where I should have just been like, just throw out some lousy line that isn't funny, doesn't make any sense, but the page would be up. So it like I got one thing that it's been sitting there for a while, and like part of it is also kind of, is this any good at all? Some days I'm like, it's awesome. Some days it's like, what was I thinking? I'm gonna retire. It's a common thing to artists, of course, but I will come back with something. I'm kind of half trying to decide if I want to do kind of a Lupin the Third kind of thing, where I kind of like, okay, we're going to close the green jacket right here, start doing the red jacket, where, you don't need to forget everything that happened in that other part, but we're just going to start this whole thing as if you don't need to know anything about it, what happened before. We're just going to start from a whole new place. Sure. Because, it's been a long time. Kind of part of the problem is I made all these decisions when I was like 24, and I'm kind of still like trying to deal with those decisions that I kind of made on a whim. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not interested in this anymore. But I like these characters a lot, and I want to keep working on them. I like drawing. I still draw them. Sure. But there will be 8 to 1, so long as I still breathe.
Okay. So. I mean, I think a fresh start's pretty fair. It's been like probably about 10 years since I've read the comic. I don't know how long it's been since I've stopped updating, but yeah, probably about that. But so I think that's cool though that you're kind of just trying to look at it in a new way now, keep it going. Yeah, and then I got all these other ideas, like these short stories that keep coming up. I really like I like the form. I think it's a bit underrated, and I like doing that. So that's also been distracting me. That's cool. Is there anything else for the viewers to say? I can't imagine what. All right. Well, thanks for doing this. Cool. No problem. Good talking to you. Yeah.